What's up, everybody? Today is day 2 of 8 where I'm live streaming every single day in order to promote and also be there for everybody. What am I promoting? A little bit of context for anybody that's watching the replay, or if you're here right now. I'm opening enrollment for the world's first live online poker dealer school. This is the first time this is ever being done. What is that? It's basically it's an in-person poker dealer school, except instead of being in person physically, it's in person online. So we're going to be doing this through Zoom. And for years now, I've had an online course that teaches people how to deal poker. And the whole time, pretty much, I've been working with people one-on-one via Zoom already. I know how to do this. I know how to get people audition ready, where you can be at home and I can be at home and we can have a conversation. And I can do this in a group. I've done this in groups before too. So here I am. I'm like, you know what? I've proven the impossible. I've made it so that anybody can learn to do this job, dealing poker at casino quality level from home. And enrollment's open now. Early bird's going on right now. The actual school is going to start February 16th. And so we have 15 spots total. Early bird's going on up until February 3rd. Get in while you can is all I can say. And in the meantime, what this is right now, I'm here for anybody who has any questions for me about poker, about anything. Like, these live streams are just a way for me to get to talk to you guys. And please put your questions in the chat. I am much better with dialogue than I am with monologue. I'm much better actually talking to people, answering questions. I'm more interesting that way than me just talking to a camera. That's not really my thing. It's not really my style that way. I love actually engaging and interacting with people. So yeah, I mean, this is live school, and this is for, actually, I should talk about who this particular online live school is going to be for. So there are so many people that I've talked to over the years that have all these different paths to becoming a poker dealer. And one of those paths that comes up over and over again is a lot of people, they live in one place where there's either not a poker dealer school at all or not a poker dealer school that they're interested in attending. And they have to actually travel somewhere else to go to a poker dealer school. And you don't have to do that anymore. You can actually learn online at home with me. The materials, the setup for your home practice area is not that difficult. I walk you through it. It takes like 10 minutes or less to understand what you need to get, and it's not a lot of money. And it's just a really cool thing to be able to offer people now. You don't have to travel somewhere, pay for an Airbnb or hotel or something like that on top of needing to go and pay for the dealer school. Now you can just go to truepokerdealer.com and figure out how to be one of the first 15 that get into my school. And I've barely told anybody about this so far. It's why I'm doing the live streams every single day. So if you're lucky enough to be one of the first people who knows about this, I'm only taking 15 spots to start. I want to make sure that for the first time that I'm running this, I want to make sure that everybody gets the attention that they need in this live school that's online. So again, I'm here to answer your questions. Anybody that's watching right now, anybody that wants to have any conversation with me, just put your questions in the chat. It could be about this, but it could also just be about how to deal poker. I literally don't care. I've got a whole table set up right here for you to ask me whatever you want. If you want me to show you something complicated, now's the time to ask it. I'm going to be here for about 90 minutes total. I'm happy to teach poker stuff too. Like, this is a demonstration to see what it's like to learn from me. Obviously, being via Zoom would be easier, right? Where we have a whole class. But this is a really cool opportunity for anybody that's just like thinking about learning how to deal poker or anything like that. Like, I can tell you, I have developed a handful of methods, especially using the video feature, right? Where if I'm teaching you and you're at home, you get the benefit of me giving you not only instruction while we're working one-on-one and while we're in the class working together, but also I give you instruction for when you go back and watch the video how to clean yourself up. A regular dealer school doesn't use video as well as I do at this at-home dealer school, and I promise you, I have developed methods, I've been using them for years, that really work with dealers. There's a reason that it only takes 1 or 2 feedback sessions with me to take somebody from being okay at dealing and sort of getting it to being able to pass an audition. Like, that's for a reason. So you want to join my school if you're even thinking about it. Also, this is the class, right? The one that starts February 16th. this is the one that's going to be completed in time for the World Series of Poker, if that's something you're interested in too. So if you don't have a poker dealer school near you and you want to be able to learn how to do this job and make, I know poker dealers that make 5 figures every month. I'm not saying they're making $50,000 a month, but I do know poker dealers that make 5 figures a month. Their lifestyle and stuff like that has to do with it, but this is a really good job for somebody that's trying to figure out, what do I want to do in the world, even if you want it just to be there for you as a skill. There's so much that I could say about this, but yeah, this is the time when you can actually sign up and join my course. And please, right now, put a question in the chat. We can talk about anything that you'd like. I'm here. I'm available for you to have whatever conversations we want. Maybe I could start doing a demo of some sort. Let me see. I had some ready to go questions for when nobody's in the chat. Usually takes people 15-20 minutes to come in here and start saying like, oh, I do want to ask Marc some stuff. Let's see. Well, I have this question here that I've been asked. What's the biggest reason people fail dealer auditions? Oh, there's a bunch of different answers to that, but I would say the number one thing that comes up is the person who's trying to pass the audition. Maybe they've learned and they haven't just taken that one cleanup session with somebody like me, where they like, for me, I've auditioned hundreds of people, and I've actually auditioned probably into the high hundreds of people, like 700-800 people in my career, because I used to be a supervisor. I used to be a shift manager, and over that time, it's just like, it's so obvious sometimes when somebody doesn't have these little details cleaned up, like these little details, like, you know, you've let's say that you've got the pot over here. There was one person that I failed when I was auditioning them, because they did a great job. They had man, my hands are cold right now. When your hands are cold trying to deal, it is much more difficult. It's like the blood just, I don't know what it is, but my hands can't do the things that they normally can when they're as cold. So there was one dealer that they had like their muck, and the muck was sort of under the pot. And I assume it's because they were nervous, right? I assume that there's a good reason why they had this oversight. They ended up becoming a dealer later. But as the person auditioning them, when I see something like this where the muck is like under the pot, it's almost like I can't just say yes and hire that person to become a dealer, because that's sort of a weird mistake. It's the type of weird mistake that when somebody makes it, you almost don't know what else they're just completely unaware of that matters, and you need to see more. So that was a person I ended up giving a job as a chip runner to when their audition came through, when they had the muck under the pot, just because it's like, it's hard to imagine what else that person was going to do that you would just never expect. A lot of poker dealing errors are things that you might actually expect. That one wasn't. There's other things that are like integrity errors. So my point in saying all this is the number one reason that people fail dealer auditions is they haven't just cleaned themselves up with these types of details. And I mean, that's literally my specialty. So if you were to join my live school that starts February 16th and early bird ends February 3rd, if you were to join my live school, we would just make sure that you have exactly what you need in order to be able to pass these auditions. Like, it's just what I do, and it's what I've been doing, and I'm good at it. And look, you know, poker dealing's not for everybody, right? So it's a lot harder for me to help somebody get a job as a poker dealer if they literally are a snooze fest when it comes to dealing poker, if they hate talking to people, like your job is interacting with people over and over again. It can be much more difficult, but even people like that, I could probably help get through the whole thing. But yeah, remember, this is time to get questions answered. Cold. Curious if anyone has any questions that they want. I know I'm pounding these live streams every single day. I'm going to be live streaming up until early bird ends on the 3rd of February. And, you know, I'm here to teach anybody that has any questions about anything. 2 p.m. Eastern every day during the weekdays up until the 3rd. And on the weekends, I have to make it a little bit later because I have to be a dad at 2 p.m. on those days. So 7 p.m. Eastern on Saturday and Sunday, which out here in the East Coast, I'm in North Carolina, it's supposed to be absolutely freezing cold those days. So hopefully everybody's prepared for this coming weekend from what I've seen. I mean, the winter storm that just came through here was really intense for a lot of people. We had a terrible forecast where I live, and it ended up just being like maybe a eighth of an inch of ice, which was still a pain, but could have been way worse. I heard there were so many people without power, and I'm sure some people still don't have power. But all the more reason to prepare, right? I live in Asheville, North Carolina. I promise you, we were prepared for this storm that just came through. And as it turned out, we didn't need to be. I'm sure we spent money we didn't need to on preparations, but after what happened a little over a year ago, that's just what it is from now on for the rest of our lives. We are going to be prepared for storms. I made sure that I had gas, all that stuff. But yeah, first one in the chat gets your questions answered. Let me refresh this just in case I'm missing something. Nope, I see the same thing here. If you're watching it, it does help with the algorithm, and it helps me personally. If you like the video, it doesn't hurt you at all to do. And yeah, any poker dealing questions that somebody might have, I am here to answer. And we can have some fun. If you want me to do some kind of a demonstration, I'm happy to do that. That's what this time is. You know, I'm just here helping anybody get their questions answered, get to know me, whatever it is that they feel like. So be the first one in the chat right now and make my life a little bit easier so that I don't have to keep monologuing about stuff that nobody really wants to hear. People just want to hear me answering stuff. I mean, we know that. Let's see, what else can I say? I have definitely had fun dealing at TCH recently. You know, TCH in Dallas, the players there, it's like when I get there, it's sort of welcoming. I had one dealer, so I deal at both rooms. I said dealer. I had one player. They came up to me when I was dealing in the room that I actually deal at more often, and they whispered in my ear as they were walking by. She was like, "Wait, what are you doing here?" And I'm like, I turn around and I'm like, oh, because from her perspective, she literally only saw me deal in the other room because she pretty much only plays there. So then there's this assumption that that's where I work, right? And I actually turned back to her and I had to figure out what, you know, multitasking as a dealer, this happens all the time, right? I'll be dealing at a table sort of in the game, right? Like I sort of am totally invested in the game and I'm totally present with the game. And then someone else that's not a part of the game comes and says something to me, and I'm now multitasking, staying with the game and trying to figure out what they're talking about sometimes. But this time I was able to catch up and tell her, like, believe it or not, I actually deal here more. I haven't seen you here either. And I mean, you know, people have their perspective about what's going on. I thought that was pretty funny. But all right, come on, guys, don't leave me hanging here. Jump in the chat. I'll pretend like I'm selling something. Put that comment in the chat right now. Ask me something. Make it so that we can have some fun conversation here. Let me see. Maybe I'll just figure out something to teach in the meantime. People have been asking me about PLO math a lot. That's been a really interesting one. So let me just do a demo about some pot limit Omaha right now. So we'll do this. We've got, let's see what we can see on the screen to make it smooth here. Can we see this? Yes, we can. We'll put this as a part of this stack here. I'll just deal out a PLO hand for a sec. Let's get this all set up. We'll make it fun and easy. There's way too many white chips. Put some over here. Put some over here. That's fine. And this can stay here. We'll have this count as a stack. They got some green chips. A good dealer makes them keep them out front if it's an issue. That is one thing that I actually pay attention to when I'm dealing just about all the time. I take a glance when I sit down at the table, and some of this stuff sort of becomes instinct, which is nice. And you just get a sense for who has their big chips on the table. I like to, This helps for a lot of reasons. When I sit down at the table, I sort of eyeball the stacks a little bit as if I'm a poker player. It helps me engage more in the game. And I look around and I see how much everybody's playing, basically. And very, very rare does it come up that somebody pulls chips off the table or puts them back, but it's much easier to catch when I'm invested in the game as if I were a player, figuring out how much everybody has in front of them. And also I can catch when somebody has their chips, big chips behind, right? Like maybe we don't care about 25s as much, but like let's say that they've got black chips back here and nobody would be able to see it over there for sure, right? So I've just noticed that, and I sit at the table, and because I did my glance, I could be like, hey, I just need you to put those on top or out front. And it really does make a difference. People really appreciate that, the other players at the table. And there's ways to do it where it sort of feels bad for the player that you're saying it to, and there's ways to do it so that it's really smooth and comfortable for everybody. But all right, what I'm going to do here now is I am going to deal a hand of PLO, and we're going to sort of run through some scenarios with that. Why am I doing this? Because nobody's asking me anything in the chat. I would like for anyone to ask me any question about dealing poker or anything that they want to ask me in the chat. That's what I'm here for. I'm here for you. But in the silence, I'm going to do this instead. So we're going to call this a 2-5 PLO game. All right. And I'm going to test your knowledge. Maybe that's what I'll do. I'll deal out a part of it, and then I'll pause for a second and say, in the chat, I want you to guess the answer if you can for how much the bet should be. All right, so instead of just picking this up and dealing it like that, I will actually shuffle it. So here we go. Shuffled cards. My hands are cold. I should have turned the heat up a little bit. I think I have the heat on like 68 or 69, and I'm still freezing. It's just what it's like when it's super cold out. So let's see. We're going to count this as one stack here. Can we see this? Yeah, we can. Great. So like this. And we're just dealing around the table. We're doing looks like a 6-handed PLO hand. And I'm just going to, normally there'd be players grabbing them, but we're just going to make sure that this is all smooth, all right? So here we go. So you've got 2-5. And see, like, think about practicing at home. This is not that hard. You can do this at home if you need to practice at home. When we do the Zooms, it's going to be simple like this. You actually get the practice that you need at home. Like, people don't always realize that, but it's totally available. So, all right. This is a real easy one. You got 2-5 as the blinds. Make this as clear as possible. 2-5 blinds. First player to act. If they say pot, obviously I know the answer. I want to ask you, what is the pot bet if this person says pot? I'm going to wait about 20 seconds because there's about a 20-second delay, and then I'm going to just say the answer and we'll move on. So this player here says pot. Blinds are 2-5. It's pre-flop. Let me square everyone's cards up while I'm waiting for somebody to say the answer to how much the pot is. This is a 2-5 hand, and it's pot limit Omaha. This person says pot. And 20 is the answer. There we go. So 2-5, pot's $20. Now this person's going to call. There we go. And now this person, it's their turn. They ask, how much is it to pot? What's the amount? So this person over here, as the dealer, you would now answer that question. So I'm going to give you guys a second. What would it be? We've got 2-5 blinds, $20 over here, calls 20. This person says pot. How much is it? Give you guys a second to see if anyone wants to make a guess. And if not, I will answer it. And so the reason I'm waiting is because it's about a 15-20 second delay or so until somebody might be able to give that answer. So here's how it works in case you don't know it. The formula, and this is the type of thing we teach, and there's little nuances to it, but the simple basic formula is 3 times this previous bet plus the trail, and if there was a pot already or anything like that, then we would add that. So this is going to be 3 times this. So what I actually say as the dealer here is I say 4 times 20, because it's the same thing, right? Like 3 times this is 60, plus 20 is 80. But if it just goes 20, 20, 20 around the table, it's easier just to turn it into a simple formula. You say 4 times 20, right? Because they're the same amount. That's going to be 80 plus the rest of the trail, 90, right? And this gets rounded up. So it's not 87, it's 90 here. So this bet over here is going to be 90. So they put out 90. And yeah, we'll put that down there. And now it's over to this person. So let's say, I'm going to take a look at this hand just for fun. I'll keep it from you. If it's an interesting hand at all, I call. A PLO player would not play this hand. I'll tell you right now. Actually, I'll show you because it doesn't matter, right? So this is a 7, 9, 10 jack. It's not double suited. I think that might be the difference for them. Also, I mean, it's not a great hand, but it's good enough for me right now in this demo to say that hand's sort of interesting. So we've got 90 as a call, and I'm going to see if I can find someone to fold. This one's okay to fold. We'll put this over here as the muck. This comes in the middle. I'm going to look at this hand too. And again, I'm here to answer your questions about anything related to poker. And I'm just showing a hand of PLO for fun in the meantime. And let's see what this player has. All right, this player is going to say the magic words. They say pot. So now, as the dealer, I'm immediately looking to, this is the dead money, I'm immediately looking to the previous bet that they're faced with. And you know what, let me make this game a little bit deeper. We'll put some here, we'll put some here. So those are black chips. I'm just putting in stacks so that we can actually get some interesting hands going. So over here, this player just potted, or this player called 90, this player had potted to 90, and this player said pot. So here's the dead money. I'm going to give you a chance to just think about what the answer is for yourself before I just do it. And then I'll go right into what it is that I normally do. This is a PLO hand demonstration. And I invite anybody here during this to remember, I'm here to answer your questions about just about anything. So let's see. So here's how you would figure out the pot for this. This previous bet right over here is 90. We're going to go 4 times 90. That's 360. And I would actually say it just like this as the dealer. So they say pot. I'm going to look over here. I say 4 times 90 is 360, 380, 390, right? You don't count this over here. It ends up becoming a part of their bet. So you don't count what's in front of the player. 3, 4, that's 4 times 90, that's 360, 380, 390. And it doesn't hurt just to say it one more time. When you're calculating it, they're going to be calculating it with you. And let's say that they put it out like this, and you're like, great. So that's 390. So I'm just going to take a look at this hand real quick. This player is going to fold. They throw that money in. This player over here, let's say that they call 390. And this player over here, I mean, they really don't have any business in this hand at this point, but that's okay. So we're going to go 390 like this. A lot of people that play PLO are honestly here because it just feels like the most fun gambling action that they can have. And I'm gonna say that these are 500 unit chips. I'm gonna say that's not a part of their stack. So now I've got all this. Now as the dealer, I'm looking over here. Let's make these stacks a little bit deeper. So actually I am gonna use these 500 chips. So these are 500 units, and we'll have these be 500 units there and these be 500 units here, just so we can see some actual interesting pots and stuff. And that'll be off to the side. I'll put that over here. So let's see. So I see a question out here. Gary, I'm going to answer that in a second. I got this far. I might as well just finish this hand real quick, right? So as the dealer, I'm saying, all right, this is 390 times 3, and I've got 30 over here. So the slow version of doing this would be, okay, 390 times 3, and you actually do 300 times 3 and then 90 times 3 and add it up, or 390 is almost 400, so that's going to be 1200, and then you subtract the 10, 10, and 10, which is 30, right? So that's going to be 1170, and then you add this right here, which is going to be another 30, so you're back up to 1200. Okay, so honestly, the way that I do this is if I know that I've got a number here that just makes it so that I go 10, 10, and 10, I just say, oh, it's actually 400 each. Don't worry about that. That's for later. For right now, it would be 390 times 3, which is basically 400 times 3, which is basically 1200, and then you subtract 10, 10, and 10, which is 30. So that's 1170, and then you add the 30 back. So you've got 1200 even. Here we go. So right now, something to remember as a PLO player. So you're the dealer, and you're thinking about what it's like to be the PLO players. They're very excited right now. There's a lot of money in the middle, and your job as the dealer is to facilitate the game, and also you want to preserve that fun for them. Okay, so you're here and you're going to bring this, and you doing your job well helps preserve that fun. So here we go. What an interesting flop, right? Now, we don't say that out loud, of course. So this player over here, they are going to, they're probably, I'm honestly not good enough for PLO. Let me ask you, if you're this player right here, what do you do with this hand? They've got red aces with a deuce. So they're blocking one of their own outs. And, you know, 3 aces is what they have. They're probably not going to get anything. They're either getting a full house and winning, or they're probably not going to win if anyone calls. I actually don't know what to do there. I'm going to go all in, though, or actually bet the pot, just because that's what I've seen some people do, and it's more fun to do that. Now I'm going to take a look at this hand. This is a funny hand right here. So this player also has a set. A lot of people are going to continue here. They don't have a flush draw. I'm just going to have them put the money in because we're in a pretend hand and not worry about it. And these guys have literally nothing. So they're going to go. All right. And obviously we wouldn't be seeing these as we go. So here we go. And with this turn, I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do. Let's say they go check, check. And then with this river now, this player is probably going to go all in. And if this player called before, they're probably going to call because they can beat deuces full of aces, right? They can beat deuces full of anything. And they would probably call. And so we get all in and a call and a showdown. And the aces full of deuces. As the dealer, you frame it. Aces full of deuces. And so the next thing you do, and this is important, you do this in order. You kill the losing hand, just like that. You're going to see how much this is over here, because you can't quite tell just off the, like, visually how much they have over here. Typically the leftover $1 chips don't play, so this is going to be 605. These are $1 chips here. 5 of them does play together. The extra 2 does not. So 605. And so it looks like that's got this covered. And I'll just do this so that you guys can see. Got this bet covered. All right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to make some space over here. There's a few different ways to do that, but I'm going to push this person their money back, and they get all this, and we just push this pot. If you need to push more than once, you just go for it. Don't worry about it. Clear your hands. Whenever you push a pot, clearing your hands is a good way to do it. It really saves you from being in trouble ever. Nowadays, you almost never see that being a problem, but yeah, so that's how that PLO hand went. Maybe you learned something just now. There's some basic structure that I just sort of went over in the dealing of that hand. All right, Gary, I appreciate you putting some questions in the chat. You say, okay, I have a huge hole in my game. Online poker says automatically how much money is in the pot. I have problems when playing live with counting the pot. I need to ask the dealer if I can say half. Some places the dealers can't count the pot for you, but they can arrange the chips like in a stack of 20 so they're easier to count. Let me see. So you're talking about Texas Hold'em, it sounds like, because if it was pot limit, then they could tell you the pot. So you're saying basically when you play Texas Hold'em, so this is a poker playing question as opposed to a poker dealing question, which is fine. You said you have a huge hole in your game. Online poker says automatically how much money is in the pot, which, by the way, that's really interesting, right? Like, our entire industry in live poker says that the dealer is not allowed to tell the player how much is in the pot. It's sort of a universal rule. I hear you saying that some poker rooms will allow the dealer to sort of like half it or something like that. That gives you an idea of how much the pot is. And I mean, it's really interesting, right? Like, here we have live poker saying it's one player per hand. We're not allowed to tell you that. And then online poker literally says how much the pot is in the online poker software when you're in the middle of a hand and the money goes into the middle. Like, it's clear about how much money is in there. And I mean, I don't play as much online poker now. I used to play online poker a ton back in the mid 2000s. And then the Unlawful Internet Gambling Act changed things for me significantly in 2006. I stopped playing as much online poker back then, maybe a little bit still. But so all that to say, I do know what you're talking about. And you basically want to know, like, when you're playing poker live, how are you able to keep track of the pot as a hold'em player? It's a good question. So I would say, first of all, you want to come up with a solution for yourself where you don't rely on the dealer. Relying on the dealer for that information is, you're sort of setting yourself up. Number one, it's actually better to keep track of the pot as a poker player without communicating openly to everyone else at the table that that's what you're doing, right? Like, recreational poker players that don't think about the pot don't want to think about other people thinking about how much is in the pot. They're not there making math decisions, and they don't want it starts making them think, oh, maybe I don't belong here, right? So as people that take poker seriously, we don't want to be communicating to other people at the table that we are calculating how much is in the pot and making our decisions based on that. And then some people at the same time just would never care about that, and it is what it is. Like, they just want to be able to be themselves. So both sides of that are valid. How do you keep track of the pot as a player at the table? Okay, so let's do this. So I guess I gotta clean this up a little bit, huh? We're going to have a hand go of Texas Hold'em and just make it sort of straightforward and simple. All right, we got some black chips in here. This player would have tipped the dealer, by the way. Hopefully they threw something like that. Obviously, if they throw $1, we appreciate it, right? But we're always hoping for whatever someone's willing to give us, and we're appreciative of whatever we get. That is our motto. Honestly, I've been hearing a lot of pre-shifts recently where they've been telling the dealers, hey, you have to say thank you. And it's such a simple thing to have as one of your habits as a poker dealer, just saying thank you every single time. Like, I understand if someone builds up expectation for a big tip. I'm just talking about this while I'm setting this hand up. I understand if someone builds up expectations for a big tip. Maybe they dealt a big pot and they really want a lot, but you really, as a human, you really can't find a place as a dealer where you're actually genuinely appreciative if someone chooses to give you $1. Like, they're giving you $1, or give you $2 or $3. They're giving you $2 or $3. Like, just be appreciative. It's not a big deal. Let's see. James says, could you discuss how you keep track of multiple side pots as a dealer? I will do that in a moment. I'm going to finish. Let's see. A thank you or even a simple smile goes a long way. Yes, I'm going to finish this little demo for Gary so that as a poker player, he can have an easier time keeping track of the pot. By the way, as a poker dealer, I started as a poker dealer dealing Texas Hold'em only. I did not deal pot limit in the beginning. I also occasionally dealt limit Omaha high-low back then. But my point is, when I wasn't dealing pot limit, I wasn't calculating the pot regularly as the dealer. And it was frustrating because I had to take a rake. So I needed to actually know how much was in the pot. But then once the pot got over like $50, I think it was, I didn't have to pay attention anymore. It might even have been like, it was 30 in the beginning, then it was 40, then it was 50. And so that was challenging for me when I switched to pot limit, keeping track of the pot. I will be honest, when I'm dealing Texas Hold'em, I do not keep track of the pot anymore because I work somewhere where they don't take rake, and it's an hourly fee. But because I've dealt so much PLO, it's like second nature when I want to. And a lot of dealers keep track of the pot in Texas Hold'em too, just because it really helps. Like if it's your habit as a dealer every single time to keep track of the pot, then it makes it a lot easier when you deal PLO. I just like to relax that part of myself when I'm dealing Texas Hold'em. It's like I think of the 1-2 no limit game sort of as my break, honestly. PLO is a lot of cards and it's a lot of math. It can be fun. Sometimes they take a little bit longer to make decisions, but all right. So I'm assuming you play 1-2 no limit. Correct me if I'm wrong, Gary. So I'm assuming you play 1-2 no limit. So maybe we should add some stacks here. Let's see. I'm gonna add a stack over here just to make this a bit better. Here, I'll even put that $2 there. Let's see. Can you see this? Yes, you can. All right, so we're gonna go like this, and we'll have this person straddle. Players do that sometimes, and it just gets a little more money in there and makes it a little bit more complicated, right? So as a player right now, what you would be thinking about, if this is the most important thing to you, which keep in mind, your attention as a poker player is incredibly valuable to you. Whatever you're putting your attention on is the thing that's taking up all your energy. And by putting your attention on this, I would almost suggest that you deal out hands to yourself. You could literally just get a deck of cards, like learn to shuffle, learn to pitch cards, and just get the hands dealt out to yourself and just practice like doing this in real time for yourself. I think it would be valuable. I'm saying that because when you're actually playing poker, it's costly to be developing a habit like this that takes a little bit of brain power, but you can certainly do it at the poker table, especially if you've got the game down. So what I'm doing as a poker player, if I'm learning how to count the pot, or if I'm trying to keep track of how much is in the pot, I'm relaxing right now. Okay? I'm totally relaxed. There's nothing for me to do in this moment. This person calls 5. Nothing for me to do yet. This person raises to 15. Nothing for me to do. I'm going to look at this hand. I'll play it. If it's okay, sure, why not? Calls 15. There's nothing for me to do. I'll tell you why in a second. This player folds. This player folds. Now there's something for me to do. Here's $1. This is dead money. So I need to remember now there's $1 dead money. Do I care about $1? Maybe, maybe not. But I'm just going to try to tell you how to do this perfectly. And let's see this hand. You know what? They'll call. So you got $1 dead money so far. And the straddle is going to call. And this player is going to fold. $6 dead money. So the first thing that I'm doing as a person who's tracking how much is in the pot is I'm keeping track of the dead money. Then I'm not doing anything fancy here. Now is when I pay attention to this. There's 4 players at $15 a piece. That's $60. 66 is the total number right now. As a poker player, if I'm sitting over here and I'm practicing this, I can literally take $6 and put it aside if I'm not in the hand or whatever, and I just remember that remainder, $6. $66 is how much is in the pot. So you're keeping track, and it goes pretty quick, but you're keeping track in this way. And so now we've got, this is the flop, and let me see if I can remember what this is. This player is going to check. It might be a tell if you notice that they started to bet. This player is going to check as well. This player is going to check, and this person likes their hand, and they're going to bet 40. And now this player is going to call 40. And this player is going to call 40. And this player is going to fold. So I remember 66 from before. Part of the reason I remember the 66 as a poker player too is because I care about how much I might be winning. Now, the time when you actually care about how much is in the pot more than anything is when you're in the hand, right? So you're trying to keep track of how much you're winning in addition to everything else. So now we're going 3 times 40 added to 66, right? So that's 120 and 66, 186. So the only times that you have to do anything in relation to keeping track of the pot is when dead money comes in. Every single time you got to add that to the pot amount, or when the betting round is over. And now here we've got the turn, and you guys saw me shuffle. I'm just going to show you what hands we have here. These players are probably getting it all in. So this would be an interesting spot right here, right? So let's say this player goes all in, and this is the player that has to make a pot odds decision, right? So this player's all in. This player calls, we'll say. They don't want to discourage them. And then as the dealer, I'm going to go like this. We've got 172, 172. So, I mean, for me, I'm going to say that's 340. If you want to be exact, you can. So 340 and about 200, which is 186, right? So now it's up to you. So you got 340 and 186, and you're faced with this bet. But there is more action, and they have more money behind, right? I only flipped these up so you guys could see what hands were dealt out because I thought it was interesting. So at this point, this player's thinking, I might be good, probably not good. Hopefully I'm not against a set. If I'm against a straight, I don't have a lot. I mean, it's actually an interesting spot to be in. Regardless, this person now knows what the pot odds are, and hopefully that was helpful. And so we'll say that they call just to make it a little more interesting, right? So we got 172, we'll go 175, and we'll give them change. So as the dealer, I'm just going to go like that, and 3 back, and 172, and that's 28. So 28. All right. And here's the main pot, and we still have heads up on the side. And so there's the river, pairs the board. Maybe they go check, check, and then we show down, and they win. And let me ask you, Gary, did that help you understand the method? So the times to pay attention and do any math is whenever dead money comes in. I'll put my hand up here so you can see. If I have it down here, it's a little harder. Whenever dead money comes in, whenever betting round ends, you take all the finished bets from that amount and you just add them. And then, sometimes you might get an all in for less. It does get a little bit tricky there, right? And that's part of why I like to relax as a hold'em dealer, because I'm not trying to keep track of all that stuff. It can get a little bit difficult in a PLO game where you've got all ins and two deep players, and then someone's all in for less, and you got to add those amounts. Like there's a lot to be done there. That's called practice. But just for the basics of it, like whenever a betting round ends, whenever dead money comes in, those are the times to add to your number. So hopefully that was helpful. And Gary, I'm also open to follow-up questions related to what you're asking about. And again, the reason I'm doing these live streams right now, I have an online live poker dealer school that's going to be starting very soon. Early bird ends pretty soon, and I'm here every single day answering questions like this to promote it, basically, and also to be here for you. I haven't talked to you guys as much lately, and I miss being on these live streams. That's why, of the ways that I could do this is why I chose this way. So I appreciate the questions very much. All right, so James says... No, wait, that was James. I have to scroll. Let me see. All right, yeah. James says, could you discuss how you keep track of multiple side pots as a dealer? So this is actually a part of my course, and it's going to be one of the things that we focus on in the live school. So when I'm teaching the live online poker dealer school, I'm going to go over this, and we're going to make sure that everybody understands it and can do it properly, even with some of the tricks that come up. And so here, I'm going to collect all this stuff here. And yes, they would have won, but we're just trying to speed things up for a second. And I'm going to put this like this, and let's get this all picked up. And because you're asking me basically a method to keep track of something difficult. So a lot of people that learn these types of concepts, the real thing that they need is they need an instructor to be checking their skills and making sure that the way that they're doing it is complete and thorough and does everything that they need. Let's see. All right, so you want a 6-person all-in, James says. He says, I'm trying to become a poker dealer. I have an audition tomorrow. That's amazing. Good luck in that. Curious where it is. Been watching your channel just to clarify, how do you keep track when 6 people are all in? So one of the things that I love to do when I'm giving an audition, like when I'm a supervisor or shift manager and I'm the one that's choosing the hire, I love to have everybody go all in, because basically if a dealer can handle that, they can handle just about anything. So here we go. I can tell this live stream is going to hurt my back a little bit more than some. Oh, all right, get myself comfortable. One of the things I love about dealing in an actual poker room is usually the equipment, like the chairs and everything, are top notch. And I should probably get a cushion for this chair, because the one that I'm sitting in right now is good enough, but it's definitely not as good as the ones I'm used to. All right, so you know what? I've just been leaving this deck sitting here. I hate to just leave a deck sitting and then cut and then deal. So we're gonna do this. There's gonna be 6 players all in this hand, and I'll talk you through how to do it. And I do a complete version of this in my self-paced course at truepokerdealer.com. You can get that, and there's literally an entire video that goes through all this stuff, and people have found it to be incredibly helpful. And then I also teach this in the live online poker dealer school, where we're on Zoom as a class, and you're at home and I'm at home. You're using your setup and I'm here and using my setup, and I'm teaching you how to do stuff and verifying that you're doing it correctly and making sure. And we're recording these videos, and then you get copies of those videos with instructions on how to clean yourself up. Very, very, very valuable. I've been doing one-on-ones like that for years, and by far those are the best results for people that are trying to learn how to deal, is getting instruction from me via video, which is what we do in this class a lot, and then getting the instructions on how to clean yourself up after you watch that video back. And it takes time for you, but it's incredibly effective. So here we go. Let's see. So I'm dealing out this hand, and again, this was a request just now by somebody in the chat, and we are going to be getting a 6-way all in, and I'll do it with the deck in my hand too, just to help make that clear. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So only one person can fold. So I'm just gonna, work my way up to that, find maybe the worst hand and have them fold, right? Try to make this a little bit interesting. And of course, you would normally not be looking at the cards as you're going through, but here we go. I am probably gonna let it get to a flop. This is a good fold candidate. All right, so we're gonna go to a flop. And everybody's still in. Let's see. James says, incredible. I can't wait to recommend you. Well, I appreciate that. Yeah, I've only got 15 spots for this online live school, so you got to get in quick, because I just want everyone to get the attention that they need, honestly. All right, so this person's going to bet 20. Yeah, I can't start out. It's not a good hand, but I need people to stay in. Also not a good hand, but I need people to stay in. All right, let's see. All right, this is the one that can fold. And so now everybody else is going to, we'll make it a little bit realistic. Make them go to 120, and this person can call. I'm gonna get rid of these chips though. We'll give them a stack of green in place. And you know what? Let's say that they call like this. As a dealer, this happens all the time, and you just have to remember it, right? 120, and let's say 120. 120. They call. All right. And 120. All right. So we're going to bring this in. So we go like this, and we leave it in front of them until it's time to take it. And talking your game and going in order, going around the table like this really makes a big difference. Helps people feel comfortable. And here we go. And we're going to bring the turn. And now let's say it goes check, check, and then all in over here. So they're just like, nobody's going to call, or who knows what they're thinking or what they have. And now we start over here. So first we know that this one's got everybody covered. Not always going to be, you know what? Let's make it harder. So we'll say this player's all in first, and they're all in for, so why make it easier for me? Why not make it harder? So this person's all in for 44. This person's going to call 44. And I swear to you, I go to Dallas to deal poker. I probably deal like 50 to 75 hours a week when I'm there. I'm there every other month for a couple weeks, right? This happens to me at least once per trip, if not more than that. It could even happen once a week where you just get like 6 people all in. This is why we need you as dealers to know how to do this, because this actually happens. So this person calls 45. This person calls 45 or 44. And I'm making it harder on myself because this is what actually happens. This person calls 44. And then, let's see, who do I want to go all in here? I'll have this person go all in right here. So now this person's all in. So they say all in, they throw one chip out there. I throw them the all in button. Gary says add amounts after each card is different. Oh yeah, I'll go back to that. I'm going to have to do some catch up in the chat after I finish this example over here. All right, so this person went all in. So as the dealer right here, the first thing is if they throw one chip and they say all in this spot, let's say that the house rule is that's fine and you can go all in like that. I had a conversation yesterday with someone that said that their house rule is not, that's not an automatic anything. Or maybe they said you can't call with one chip, whatever it was. Let's assume that's fine. As the dealer, immediately I'm like, oh, no, we're not doing this. I'm like, all right, I need you to put your chips in. So they're going to put their chips in here. And technically the rule in most places here is we do not count their all in until asked. Or if somebody else goes all in or puts their chips in. So once this player now says all in and they put some chips in, now we're going to start counting this. Now, what happens a lot of the time is the players just start going like this, and they don't actually care. And this person goes like this, and he's all in too. And they just don't actually care. So you don't always get the time that you want when you're practicing to be able to just do things. So what you want to do is you would start, once this person calls or goes all in themselves, you're going to start counting this down. So this right here, you're going to start counting it down. However, you also need to pay attention to the action. So you're making sure that you see what's going on. If they start calling and going all in, stop for a second and just make sure that you're seeing what's happening, because you don't want to be going like this when this is happening if you can avoid it. Can't always avoid it. Sometimes you're just like, I need to count this, and like people are doing stuff. It is their turn, so it's okay for them to be doing stuff, but it does get a little complicated. And let's say this person calls. So now here we go. So we've got this over here. I got the deck in my hand. There's one more card to come. And I'm going to start, actually, where would I start? Well, at this point, I see that everyone's all in. Before everyone was all in like that, I would be counting that bet down. But now I'm actually going to say, okay, everybody's all in here. I start with the smallest stack, right? Why do we start with the smallest stack? Because the smallest stack is the one that the money from that can go to the main pot. So 44 is the amount. Ironically, we had it out before from everybody, but now we don't anymore. So 44. So now I'm going to start going around the table this way. What I do is I leave this all-in amount here, and I should have given them an all-in button in the beginning. It's fine. I leave this amount here because as you start going around the table and you start pulling these amounts, it just helps. Like 44 is an easy number to remember, but sometimes it's not easy. And it's really nice to go around the table in one direction and then have the last thing that you pull into the main pot be that amount from that player. So 44, so I'm taking 44 here, so I'm gonna have to make change for this. So we go like this, and you know what? That's a shortcut. I don't need to do a shortcut right now, so I'll take this. We're gonna take this red chip over here, and we're going to like this. It's not exactly how I would do it, but it's fine. So we're gonna say they get $1 change, 44 to the main. And I like saying 44 to the main. You can do it that way, or you can do it this way. 44 to the main, 6 back. 44 to the main, 1 back. And 44 to the main, 6 back. And you're just making sure that you're clear the whole time. And with this one, we'll go 45 like this, and we'll give him $1 back. And then this one right here comes to the main. And so right now I could make a little shortcut for myself to remember. This one sort of depends on your skill level. When you're new, I would probably suggest that you do this. So this one chip, I can use this one chip from the main pot to indicate that this is my first pot, my main pot, pot number 1, and that this player over here is eligible for it, right? And so then now we go to our next pot. So now it's going to be the next smallest stack. And you might see some people give slightly different instruction around this. I promise you, this method will make it so that you can create a process. You basically have this process in your head, and you don't have to overthink anything or get lost or feel that feeling of panic. Dealers know. I felt this before too, years ago. There can be a feeling of panic if you're just like, wait a minute, do I know what I'm doing here? It's one of the worst feelings in the world. Having a process that you're just comfortable with and committed to really makes that a lot easier. So here we've got 56. I'm just going to splash this to make sure that it's the right amount. And I'm going to leave this here. So where is this pot going to go? Different poker rooms have different answers to this. So as I always say, do what your supervisor says to do. Me personally, even when I'm dealing in a room, people don't usually give me a hard time when I'm a dealer. But I'm going to leave this right in front of this player who's all in for this amount. So this is 56. I'm going to take this 56 and I'm going to stack it like that and put it here next to the original broken down bet. I'm doing that because I find that to be easier. Every once in a while, when you're in the middle of this, like let's say I'm over here and I go 56, and I just want you guys to see this, 56 over here. Notice I'm not crossing my hands. I guess maybe you can't see it, but so I had 56 here. I lost track of it. This goes over here. I'm stacking it over here where my side pot's going because every once in a while you end up with somebody like this player over here that says, wait a minute, did you get his 56? He's like, this player right here says, wait, did you get his 56? And so you're like, okay, well, here's the original one. Everyone saw that I was going in this order. So I have yours, I have his, and I just took his. So yes, I did, right? And every once in a while, I actually, it happened to me maybe a month ago. A player, Eric, who is on top of stuff, he said you forgot to take 75 from this pot. And because I was doing it like this, I was able to be like, oh my God, you're right. And I remembered that it happened that way. And I was really appreciative that he said something. Even I make mistakes, and part of what I actually teach in reality is that dealers are human too. And so having these processes makes it so much simpler as a dealer if you have an oversight like that. Because what can happen is someone can be in the middle of a conversation with you right now. Like I'm talking as I'm doing all this. And now here's this pot, and I've got all 5 of these amounts. Once I see it and I'm verified about it, I usually splash it. If you just want to leave it there just in case, you can. I would understand that in a big pot like this. I think a player would understand it, and I think the supervisor would understand it too, even if the rule is to splash or to knock the pots over and not stack them up. I think everybody would understand if you wanted to leave it up to do it that way, but I'm just doing it this way because it is technically the most professional way to do things. So now I'm finding the next lowest stack here. Looks like this one right here. We've got 1... and this is 1, 2, so the $1 chips are going to play. Pretend that's not a part of it. We've got 150, 157. All right, so we're going to take 157 from everybody else. 157, just like that. And we splash this, then we splash this. And this is 157 here. Notice I'm stacking it just like I said before. And if this person gives you 200 and you feel a little overwhelmed and you don't want to break that, I understand, but I think it's easy enough to just give them 43 change. Let them dictate what they want. Like if you look at their chip stack, they don't have any green. So, but you could tell them, do you have exact change? In this case, they actually don't anyway. So I'm going to talk my game here, right? 157, 43 change. So I'm going to take 40, 1, 2, 3 change. And yeah, that ruins the little thing that I had going, but I think that's okay. And actually, ironically, did I just mess up? Did anybody notice if I messed up? Hold on. Okay. So this is a perfect example. So we had this main stack. We've got this one right here, which is from this player. I might have skipped this player and gone right to this player, which I did. And you can literally just see it right here, right? Because I made them change for this. So right here, I have to get this player. And on this table, without people at the actual table, it's definitely more difficult to keep track of. And look, I'm glad that I made this mistake. This process actually proved how valuable the process is. So we can see this player, and then this was, minus the change from the 157 over here. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 players that should be in, and we all know for sure I didn't take from over here, so we're just going to take this, and we're going to give them 43 change. And let's see. If I say 43 change, because it's 157, and then I ask for $2 more, now it's 45 change, which is a lot easier, right? So that's something that if you didn't follow that right there, the players will usually get that at this point, and they'll know what's going on. So here's the next pot. Oh, I forgot. So this pot over here was the second pot. I don't do this anymore, so sometimes I forget when I'm in the middle of a process. To make it easy, pot number 2, 2 chips going toward the player who's all in for it. I put it in front of the player, so it's a little bit easier that way too. And then, the same thing here would be 3 pots going over to this player here. And you do sort of have to make sure that the players at the table are not going to like steal from the pot. I hate to say that, and ideally, if someone ever does that, you should tell your supervisor, and they should be kicked out, ideally permanently, if they steal from a pot. But I've seen it happen as a supervisor before in a poker room I've been at, and so like I just say, do try to keep track of, like, you don't want someone's hand to just be real close to a pot, basically. So this one is 3, and now we're going on to pot number 4. Notice so I would say you could call a floor if you believe that that's wrong and it's confusing, but in that case, we did it so cleanly and so clearly, I don't even think that's a floor call. You haven't actually done anything wrong. You're just adding this person's money to it. It's not like the pot's off yet. You're still working on building that pot. If you'd already moved on, you probably would have to call the floor, but we were still on that pot, so I don't think of that as a floor call there. I see James saying, you're human too, LOL. Yep. I mean, hey, it is what it is, right? Although I will give myself credit and say most of the time when I'm dealing a big all-in like this, I'm not teaching too, right? Like there's a little bit more going on right now than there normally would be. So here we've got 86. And so I'm going to see if this person has 86. I just want to make this one easier for myself. 75, 85, 86. And then over here, they definitely have 86, and they're going to throw a black chip. So we get 86, 86, and 86, they get 14 back. Now they get 15 back. So we just add 1 to it. Their change would have been 14. I say, can I have $1 more? Now their change is 15. It's a nice little way to do things. And so here's our 4th pot. And so I'm going to sort of keep this into a careful pot here. So right now, I have to keep things away from each other in order to make sure that we have what we need. This would never be this close. So we can just go like that. Again, I wouldn't normally do that, but it's fine. And it's just this one and this one for 110 each. So sometimes when I deal large hands like this, if they have huge stacks, I'll actually just say, okay, make sure that your chips are out a little bit, but it's going to be you versus you at the end. In this case, it's 110 and 110. So we're going to build this pot over here and just remember that that's the last one and put this back over here. And now we deal the rest. And, this is so much going on here that this is my muck. There's so much going on here that these burn cards are completely buried. All right. And so now I think that's the part that you were asking for. We could do the showdown and see who wins, but I think that you've asked and gotten the thing that you wanted so far, right? So why am I flipping all the cards over? So as the dealer, you would actually request wait a second, hold on, I'm looking at these two hands first. But as a dealer trainer, I actually make everyone flip their cards over, because you also, if you can't get them not to flip their cards over, sometimes they just want to. You need to know how to ignore the rest and see what you're seeing. And once a hand gets tabled, it's tabled. But here we're going these two hands by comparison. So this over here is going to be a 10 high. And actually, I'm curious in the chat if you feel like you can see these hands. It's just good feedback for me. And then over here we have a pair of deuces. So they're going to win. This one wanted the flush, I guess. So they get this pot. And then now we're on to, did I just click something? Now we're on to this one over here, which is, they were also looking for the flush or the straight, and they didn't get it. So this goes to the deuce as well. And we push it there. Now we're on to this one, pair of nines. All right. And we give them the pot. And then now we're on to this one over here, which is a pair of nines as well. So this one's interesting. You got this pot over here, and you got to push it all the way across the table. So I'm actually going to just do this and just sort of be very careful and deliberate about it, right? Make sure that things are okay. And now over here we got the pair of queens. And I know I'm not framing everything perfectly. In this particular hand, there's no kicker that plays. It's not confusing. So I'm just basically framing the thing that makes sense to frame. I could frame it like this, but being super technical like that in audition, great. In reality, as a dealer, I'm not worried about those cards unless they're significant in some way. So now we're going to just make room. I actually go like this a lot if I'm going to push them that main pot. And that's how we do it. And then we move the button and we clean it up. My table has a little indent, and there we go. So that was my demonstration of side pots, and then we pushed all the pots, and now I got a big mess to clean up, but hopefully that gave you the insight that you were looking for. And I go over that a lot in my side pots and multi-way all-ins video, which is a couple hours long, and it's a part of my course. And in my live online poker dealer school, where you're on Zoom at home with your practice area, working with me, with the rest of your classmates, I teach you how to deal poker, and we go over that too, and I make sure that you're doing it correctly, and we record you. That's a part of this whole thing. So just a reminder, 15 spots is all we're going to take for this course, for this class rather. It starts on February 16th, and 6 weeks in order to get through the whole thing. And I do make myself available for a couple weeks after that 6 weeks too, where if anybody needs additional feedback sessions and all that stuff, I have time for you. So 6 weeks if you're going great and you're in it, and a couple more weeks is available as well, so I don't just cut you off. So all right, hopefully that gave you, you said I just can't see the specific card. All right, well maybe I need to make that a little bit larger moving forward. I appreciate that feedback. This is exactly what I need. It gets so confusing, right? So like if you were in my live course, or if you did a one-off session with me, which I do a lot with people too, I would be having you do this, and then I would be stopping you over and over and over again whenever I needed to correct something about it. And then you would be taking that video later, and you would be practicing, and you would be stopping at every correction I make. And those corrections are the most valuable thing for you, because then you're going to train yourself the thing that I correct over and over again until it's you don't even have to think about it. It's just habit. It's like in your body, all the way in your instincts. You said, this is awesome. If I fail my audition, I'm hopping in your class. Otherwise, I'll make sure to refer you and follow your channel. Hey, I appreciate that. And I know this is backwards, but I hope that you pass and that you don't have to be in my class, because I want everybody to get a job that can. But if I see you, then we're going to make it so that you pass. So, just got to take the course and go through it. And it actually would be nice to have people that are a little bit more advanced. And honestly, if you jump in the live school with me, when I'm doing stuff like teaching mechanics and stuff like that to people, if you're way ahead, we can just work on where you're at. Like, you don't need to be, when it's your time to work with me in the class, I think everybody would benefit from seeing where you are and just what you need, and it's actually not a problem. So I think that would work great. All right, now I got to scroll up to see some of the comments that I missed because we were talking about this. Let me see. Brian, this was from a while ago at this point, and I apologize for that, but you said, I'm currently a host. Let me see. I'm currently a host chip runner at my card room. I deal for a bar poker league and have dealt a few of the tournaments at my card room. I recently had an audition by opening a 1-2 table. Maybe it continues later. I was cleared for... Yeah, I'm clicking around and it's not working. I was cleared for opening tables and giving dealers a bathroom break if needed. The few times I've opened a table since, I feel rushed by the players. When I watch the other dealers, it seems like the players take their time and give the dealer time to make change, calculate the rake, etc. Is this just me needing more time in the box to get a rhythm, or the players just giving a hard time knowing I'm new training? Also, I used your videos to help me with my basic mechanics, so thank you for those videos. Oh, great. I appreciate you saying that too. And let me just scroll down to see if you said anything else. Also, one of the things they corrected me on was pot placement. They wanted in front of the tray, not to the side for security purposes. Does this vary from room to room? All right, so let me take you to the beginning of your comment and your question, and I appreciate your comment and your question. Also, I've got about 20 minutes left for this live stream. If you have more questions, feel free to ask them before we're done. Also, tomorrow, and today's Wednesday. I had to make sure I know what day it is. Today's Wednesday. Tomorrow, Thursday, 2 p.m., another live stream Eastern time, 2 p.m. Eastern. Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, live stream as well. Saturday, Sunday, 7 p.m. live stream. And then Monday and Tuesday, 2 p.m. So I'm going to be 2 p.m. on weekdays through the 3rd, which is when early bird ends. 2 p.m. or 7 p.m. on Saturday and Sunday is when I'll be here. So if you didn't get a chance to ask, or if you're a little nervous and you need some time to think through how to say it or whatever, I'll be here later for you this week. All because the world's first live online poker dealer school is opening. It's a true poker dealer school, and I'm your teacher, and I hope to see you guys soon. All right, so the host. So first of all, I just want to say, I absolutely love when poker rooms allow the people that have the other jobs like chip runners and hosts and all that stuff. There's all these different names for it. Brush is another one. I love when they allow those positions to sit down and open up a table. I love when they allow those positions even to get a few hands out when the table first opens. Why do I love that? Because it's a great solution as opposed to having dealers sit dead spread. It's good for the person in those jobs. Some people that do the chip runner and brush jobs, or host as you call it, they definitely are just there to do that job, and that's what they want to do, and they're happy to have that job. But a lot of people that get those jobs are getting those jobs in a transitional way where eventually they want to be a poker dealer because it pays more and it's really what they got into it in the first place for. And so I really love giving someone that wants to get that exposure and experience, the ability to sit down, open up a table and everything. Bar poker is just such a different beast than casino poker. In bar poker, and I don't say this meaning it all the way, but to a degree, and especially from the perspective of a casino and casino poker, bar poker doesn't care about the details. I've never seen an exception to that ever. Every single time I've walked into any type of bar poker, the version of bar poker that I see is considerably less detail oriented and doesn't care as much than casino poker. And there's like 100 examples of what types of details I'm talking about. And so when you ask me something about bar poker, to begin with, it's hard for me to get into the heads of the people that work there that have those expectations, because typically bar poker, it actually would go the other way and it wouldn't matter as much. My guess is that in bar poker, they just want it to be a certain speed, honestly. My guess is they just want the people in the bar poker league that are dealing it to get some hands out, and like when I say the details don't matter, I don't think of speed as one of the details that don't matter. I think of more as like let me see, it's a tournament, and there's not a whole lot of money at stake. If the change is a little bit wrong or something like that, like a lot of the times it just doesn't matter. Or, you know, if somebody folds and a card goes off the table, there's no conversation about whether or not that card can play. Like, just give it back to the player. It's bar poker. It's just like, we're not here to be that serious. We probably aren't playing for quite as much money. I do think that maybe if you're in like Oregon, I'm of the impression, or I'm under the impression that there's maybe one or two states where it's actual poker and they call it bar poker, and it's a little bit misleading. And so maybe if you're in one of those places, we're talking about real casino poker. Either way, you sit down, you open up a table, whether it's in a casino or in bar poker. The first thing is that I'll say is, if the players are complaining about you, oh man, maybe I'll say it this way. I'm True Poker Dealer, and when I sit down for the first time to deal in a poker room that they don't know me, they complain about me. So the one thing that I know for sure is you don't have that rapport. You have to actually build that with your group of players, and there's a couple people at the table generally that everybody sort of defers to for that rapport. So I would ask you, like, when you're going around hosting and chip running or whatever the job really is, are you taking the time to, like, are you just like performing the job to the best of your ability, or are you taking the time to do little extra things where you sort of care about and create interactions with the players? Are you there sort of like asking yourself, like, oh, what did the players at this table really care about, and can I connect to that? Can I find a way to care about that too? Can you sort of like, I mean, everybody's got their way of being connectable, right? Like, you could do the bro thing. It just depends who the people are. If it's old man coffee, it's a different type of interaction with them. Maybe old man coffee a lot of the time will want to sort of be taken care of. Like, are you picking up the trash off of in their cup holder periodically, and just being like using their name? Old man coffee really likes being called by name, unless he's one of those very few people that you see that hate anyone knowing their name. I mean, so are you creating rapport with them? Creating rapport with them is the number one thing that I would suggest that you do. You have such a cool opportunity as a chip runner host in order to do that in that position. And then the next thing is, so when you sit down at the table and you open it, it's so simple for them to get on your case. It's also really simple for you to sort of get lost in what you're doing because you're so focused on it. I mean, I would ask you, are you practicing the things that you're doing at this table to the point where you feel comfortable with all of them? Now, I hear you saying, you know, you're trying to become a poker dealer. Wait, hold on. I hear you saying, let me see. I'm new training. Also, I use your videos to help with me with basic mechanics. So thank you. Right. So you sort of learn the basic mechanics. So my guess is, honestly, my guess is that your shuffle probably is slower than the rest of them. My guess is that your pitch is a little slower than the rest of them. My guess is that you probably wash the cards more slowly. You probably make change more slowly. I'm not there though to be able to see it, but based on what you're describing, like, it sounds like you're new, and you've learned the mechanics, and maybe your shuffle quality is good, but, you know, I'm trying to go slowly. I see a lot of new dealers that sort of go this pace, and I'm not saying this is you. I really don't know because I'm not there, but that is very slow, right? And so, and a lot of time too, especially in like bar poker, it'll actually go like this, right? So it'll go this way, where it's like you're here and then someone asks you a question and you stop. Now, a real dealer would never stop during the question while they're shuffling. But if someone's talking to you and you stop, this is definitely going to make it so that the players are trying to get you to hurry up. You might not realize what they're saying because poker players are terrible at communicating a lot of the time what the real thing they want is, because they just have all these expectations and all these people meet those expectations. But like, if I were dealing and I'm getting the game going and someone asks me a question right now, which they do all the time, I need to be able to do this and answer the question. That is a requirement. So look, I mean, it's really hard for me to know the details of what you're talking about. Maybe if you give an example about what these players are saying. But I would say to you, like, create rapport with them, because if you have rapport with them, you can say, hey, wait a minute, I'm new to this. What do you need me to do better? Like, everybody knows that you're new. They have the expectation until you change their expectation that you should be faster. If you come in as a human and you genuinely have rapport with them and you genuinely say to them, like, oh, I'm totally new at this. Like, what's the difference between me and one of the other dealers right now, like that has you speeding me up right now? And they'll literally tell you a lot of the time. They'll say, you're stopping, keep going, right? Or whatever the thing is. So that's actually a thing that you need to teach yourself, how to be doing that job and find out what it is that they don't like, that they want you to do better. And then you need to respond to it positively. Like, oh, okay, I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. I can't fix that right now. I can't fix that this second. But when I get up, I'll make sure that I put some attention on that. Or if it doesn't make sense to put attention on, you say, okay, thanks for telling me that. You don't have to, like, whatever the thing is. But the actual thing that's happening is they're creating opportunities for you to create rapport with them. And for anybody just joining, I had a chip runner host say that they sometimes sit down and open up games, and the players are like rushing them, and then they look at the other dealers when they open up games and they're not rushing them. And so I'm sort of talking through what might be happening there. But hopefully that was helpful. And then you said one other thing here. You said also one of the things they corrected me on was pot placement. They wanted in front of the tray, not right. So I'll just finish this. They want it in front of the tray, not to the side, for security purposes. This is vary from room to room. So pot placement, I have the pot go here. Some places have the pot go here. Some places have the pot go here. I've never seen it over here, but I can imagine some places have it here. I think that consistency is really the thing that matters the most. This is what I teach, but if someone says to put it here and you work for them, you do what they say. It does vary a little bit from room to room, but also just keep in mind, like, I'm sure if you watch the dealers, some of them are going to do this and then others are going to do this, and you might think to yourself, like, what the hell? But the truth is, you don't know how to deal all the way yet. And so they're going to be real specific and care about these things, because just like when I'm teaching somebody, like, there's all kinds of rules in poker and there's all kinds of procedures in poker. When I'm teaching somebody, I want you to just do it this way, and I want you to learn it this way to the point where you can do it this way perfectly, and this is how you're trained. And then once you get to the point where it's consistent, you don't have random things happening, that's when maybe I'm okay with you deviating a little bit, when you have a full grasp of the full game of dealing poker, the full job of dealing poker. So, like, I would also sort of be harping on somebody that's new. It's tough though. Like, it sounds like the energy that they're bringing to you is more negative and controlling you than, like, hey, because I think of when you have someone whose job is not dealing, when you have that person coming into the box and learning to deal poker and helping you out by opening tables, those are moments when, like, every time I've ever had a chip runner do that and I've been a supervisor or a shift manager, I'm over there watching them, and then I give them feedback after. I mean, sometimes there's too much going on, so I shouldn't say every time, right? But the premise here is, I'm having you help open this game. It's good for us. It gets the game going. The dealer doesn't need to, like, maybe you're opening it, and then when the dealer gets tapped out from the push, they're going to come, and now they have a game to jump in, and they don't have to spend like 3 to 5 minutes opening the table up, sometimes more, right? Swiping people in, waiting for everyone to show up at the table. It's a huge service to the room, and it probably makes the room like maybe $30 in rake or time or whatever, or something like that. Because the dealer gets there and they just start dealing, and you don't lose out on that initial time. It's a good service to the room, but also it's a service to the person that's doing that, and you sort of want to, like, watch them and give them that feedback. So, hopefully the vibe there is it's not a part of your job and you're expected to deal correctly. Like, it doesn't even make any sense to expect you to deal correctly. Like, I would sit down if it were me, and I would be like, hey guys, I'm opening this table. I'm not a dealer. I'm just a chip runner here. We're going to do the best we can while I'm here. And honestly, I teach people how to deal mixed games, there's mixed games that when I sit down at the table sometimes, they've just been created recently and I've never seen them before. And I basically have to tell the players, like, okay, I've never seen this one before. So you guys just talk me through what happens here. Or maybe a supervisor talks me through what happens here. And everyone understand while I'm dealing this time, I've never done this before. And it's okay, right? For you as a chip runner, like, I don't do this very often. I'm just getting used to it. So instead of like sitting down at the table and just doing it and being quiet, like if you create that rapport with them and you say, hey, I'm new to this, like ask them, like, tell me what I need to know here. I'm going to do my best. You're going to enjoy it. It's better than not playing poker. I promise you that. Something like that. I don't know. I'm being a little extra, but I think you get the idea. All right, now I'm going to scroll down and see. You said, I definitely have a good relationship with the regulars, but they still can be harsh. That is true in a poker room, and it's something very important to know. See, when I have a good relationship with the regulars, I tend to be able to give them shit, right? Like, that's one way to create rapport. It's just, if it's that type of person, you do not do this with the wrong person, of course. But like if I'm there and they're giving me a tough time and I'm constantly getting them coffee or cleaning up their trash, I might fire back at someone that's being like, what the hell are you taking so long for? I'll be like, yeah, next time I'm going to take a lot longer when I clean up your area too. I mean, you can pull that off if you do it correctly with the right person. And it's just like, if they're willing to talk to you that way, you can talk to them that way, and they might actually like it, and it creates some rapport sometimes if done correctly. So, I mean, I don't know the relationship that you have with them all the time, but I definitely have a good relationship with the regulars, but they still can be harsh, definitely slower overall. And I know speed will come, just seems like the players are more impatient with me versus others. Well, that's hard for me to know exactly why without being there. I guarantee you, if I was there and I watched it happen, I'd be able to give you a very specific answer. It's just so much variable in terms of what you could actually be asking for. All right, so now I'm going to scroll back up a little bit and see what I might have missed. Let's see. Brian. James talking about recommending me. Really appreciate that. Send people to the live online school, right? The thing that's starting on February 16th, just in case it's not clear, I am going to be doing basically a poker dealer school, just like you would see in all kinds of places where people are going to learn how to do this job. And mine is on Zoom. I've learned how to teach people on Zoom. I'm excellent at it. I really am. And I mean that. You guys know what my videos are like. I'm very good on Zoom, and it's very helpful having video recording in order to help as an instrument for people to learn. It's a very, very powerful thing. I've only got 15 spots. I want to make sure everyone gets the training that they need. So if you're at home and you want to be in a poker dealer school and you don't want to go to a physical school, or maybe you want to learn from me, the only place that I teach is on the internet, on Zoom. You have until the February 3rd to get the early bird price, and then February 16th it closes, and it's only the first 15 people. So if it sells out right away, I just started talking about this. I just started telling people about this. So if it sells out, whenever that is. But 15 spots total. And truepokerdealer.com if you want to see any information about joining. Let's see. Add amounts after each card is different. Yeah, so I was talking about the demonstration I did. This is exactly what I need. You're human too. Yep. I can just see the specific card. All right, that was feedback I was asking for. Right. And then you said that. James said, thanks, I'll be in touch. And Brian said, yes, the dealers I open for give feedback and have all been awesome to me. Well, that's really good too. Getting feedback from the dealers that are tapping you out, etc. I mean, yeah, there's a lot to this job, right? Like, when I think about, let's say that somebody watched my first 6 videos, which online the first 6 videos are free, right? You learn the shuffle, I'll put my thumb down here, the shuffle, the pitch, chip cutting, chip handling, and what else I do? Like pitch situations, and I forget, there's one other thing that I teach in there. But if somebody's learning just those mechanics and then they try to take that to go be a poker dealer, I mean, there's so much more information. And there's also a mentality that I teach, right? Like, you need to understand how to focus on getting things moving and not have downtime. Sometimes when I'm teaching people, they'll like, and I'm not saying you do this, but like they'll literally get to this point here where they've done their last riffle and it's time to cut, and then they just like get in conversation, or they'll be here and they cut and they start pitching and they get a couple cards out and then they're just in conversation. And it's because there's no, like, if you haven't been to a dealer school, whether it's a live dealer school in person or my online one, if you haven't done a poker dealer school, you haven't learned the seriousness of what you're doing and where to focus at any given moment, which is an important part. And it comes up over and over and over again, right? So like, I would never be in conversation with two cards pitched out unless the conversation was, did I shuffle, or like, unless it's vital to be able to keep going, I'm not going to be in conversation like that. But let's see, that looks like it's the end of the comments, and I want to say thank you to everybody that's been watching. I normally do the live streams for about 90 minutes, it's been 89 minutes right now. So I got 1 minute left. I will give, if anyone has a last question that they want to ask, I'm open to receiving it. I appreciate everybody that's been in the chat today. Truly, truly appreciate all you. So much better for me to have you guys asking these questions. And, if you're thinking about asking a question for next time, I normally don't, in these live streams, I normally don't do things like demonstrate multi-way all-ins, but I'm doing that this week because I want you guys to see what it's like to learn with me. I'm happy to take on the bigger, more challenging things. I appreciate all you guys very much. I'm getting Skiing Man, I think it is. So if anyone else has anything else that they want asked, I'll wait around for another minute or so. You can throw the question in the chat. I won't do a whole demonstration now, but if you ask it now, I'll do it at the beginning of the next live stream if you want something like that. But I got Poker Dealer Live School coming up, and just quick context again for anyone that missed it. I'm opening enrollment, or I did just open enrollment for it's literally the world's first poker dealer school where you can learn on Zoom. Like, this is a live online poker dealer school. It's a dealer school. I'm going to have 15 students max. 15 students max. We're going to be learning. I'm going to be at home in Zoom. You're going to be at home with your setup. It's very easy to get yourself set up. It really isn't that complicated. I show you what you need in like less than 10 minutes, and it's not that expensive either. So truepokerdealer.com is where you go if you're interested in learning how to deal poker with me. And there's only 15 people, and this is the one to do if you have any interest in the World Series of Poker or anything like that. Like, this is the one, because this will be the one that's done in time to get through it. So thank you all for being here. I don't see any more questions in the chat right now, but we had a great time today. Appreciate y'all, and see you tomorrow.